That is, and the government spending is like bankrupting the country. Our interest payments on the national debt now exceed the Defense Department budget. So, which is the Defense Department budget is like $1 trillion a year. Interest payments on the national debt are now higher than the Defense Department budget, and growing like every month. So it's not like basically we're on a path to bankruptcy. America's on a path to bankruptcy. So we have to cut government spending, or we're just going to go bankrupt, just like a person would if that overspends. But it's even worse than that. Like we're spending money on all these these government agencies, and I actually asked the AI like how many government agencies are there, and the government isn't even sure how many government agencies there are. So it's like somewhere around 450, depending on what you call an agency. So there are at the federal level. So that's almost twice as many agencies as years that America has existed. So we're creating agencies at roughly 2 agencies a year.
Wow.
Yes. So this is insane. I bet there's I wonder if there's even one person who could even name all the 450 agencies at the federal level. There might be no one. But it's hardly anyone, let's just say. I bet most people couldn't even name 100, So this is crazy. So we've got this vast suffocating federal bureaucracy that just gets bigger every year. And eventually you get to the point where everything's illegal. You can't get anything done. So
what can be done, with, obviously the president has a lot of power, but how much power, and what can be done in terms of eliminating agencies, eliminating waste, eliminating...
Yeah, well, I mean, so if Congress has created an agency, then often if you look at the law is pretty simple. The agency has a very simple task, but then that agency over time vastly increases its authority and starts doing things that were never authorized by Congress. That's happened with pretty much every agency. So yeah, you'd have to still, keep an agency. You'd have to match the law, but you can curtail the agencies to be much smaller and say you got to stick to what Congress authorized instead of all this other stuff you're doing, which I think makes sense.
And so is the other stuff they're doing just essentially bureaucracy run amok, where they just create jobs and create things to do and create a meaning for their existence?
Yeah. It's like a tumor. It's just going to keep growing.
Jesus Christ.
And it's so. I mean, as for SpaceX, Starship was sitting on the pad. The rocket, this giant rocket. We could build the rocket faster than they could process the paperwork to approve the launch. So we're sitting there for 2 months.
But do you think that they're doing that on purpose to fuck with you?
I mean, maybe a little, but I mean, that would also not be cool.
Yeah.
But another way to think of it is the amount of paperwork is going to go roughly with the square of the number of agencies involved. So because they all have to meet with each other. So let's say in the best case situation, if you've got if there's if you're dealing with one agency, that's one thing. But if you've got to deal with 5 agencies and the agencies all have to meet with each other, now you've got 25 different meeting configurations that have to take place, and it just everything just you get just hardening of the arteries. You just can't make progress. This is why we can't build high speed rail in America. It's basically illegal.
Right. So this has been the argument has always been that we need regulation because we need to protect the environment, we need to protect people, we need to make sure the rule of law is followed. So we need a certain amount of regulation. But over-regulation is a giant problem. That's a big issue in California.
Yes.
It's a huge issue anywhere where bureaucracy has run amok. They make it very difficult to get anything done.
Yes. I mean, what happens is every year there are more rules and regulations created. And in the past, what has served as a cleansing function for rules and regulations is war. Because we're going to lose if we don't kind of clear the decks. But we haven't really had an existential threat of war in the U.S. We've had prosperity for a long time, which has resulted in a massive